back to my channel. My name is Keisha and you're watching Signs of Care Creations. On my channel, I am sharing with you my sewing. I hear so many people say, I can't sew. I wish I knew how to sew. But guess what? You actually can. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you 5 easy, beginner-friendly sewing projects to help jumpstart and kickstart your sewing journey. So if you want to see and hear about those projects, continue watching. The one tip I do want to offer you is if you're like me, you are a very conscientious, very slow and steady learner. I like to take things from the beginning and then advance. But then there are some people that just want to jump right into, you know, the big things, and that's fine. You know, you can choose your preference of learning. However, in this video, I'm going to share with you projects and a tip that will be good for people who are more of a slow and steady. So if you are slow and steady, I honestly encourage you to start with projects that only require straight lines. So that would be a straight line stitch that would only require you to do a simple pivot and continue with a straight line. So all the projects I'm going to talk to you about today actually are straight stitch, pivot only type projects, okay? So the way I started learning to sew was, I did take a class, but I took a couple year, 2-year hiatus about, and I did not do anything in sewing. When I started picking up sewing again, I wanted to learn, I knew I needed to learn how to do a straight stitch. So what I did was, I practiced on my machine and I used cardstock, I used paper and a simple needle. And what I did was I used that and I practiced on my sewing machine. When I did this, I did not use thread and I did not have to worry about machine settings because I was simply using a template that gave me some dotted lines and a needle. And that was enough to help me understand or help me be acquainted with sewing a very straight line without being concerned about machine settings and wasting thread. If you want to take that approach to learning how to sew, you can actually go online in a very simple Google search or whatever search engine you use. I do love Google, but there are other search engines out there, and simply type in the search box, practice sewing sheets. And you will see a plethora of different templates you can use to begin practicing with a straight line with only using a needle and your machine. Or if you don't want to go online, real simple, create your own. It takes nothing but a piece of paper and a line, literally, and you're well on your way to learning and practicing how to do those straight lines, which are very, very necessary in learning how to sew. Now, some folks decide to stay away from using notions when they are just learning how to sew. And by notions, I'm talking about the objects and the accessories that you use, that you attach to your garment to give your garment a very finished look. So these are things like your elastic, it's your buttons, it's your zippers, it's your iron hook, it's all those type of items. However, deciding to use notions when you first learn to sew is really up to you and it's based off your comfort level. There are some folks who decide or don't want to use notions right away because they want to first learn the basics of sewing, and that's fine. But there are some who want to start with the advanced stuff and they just keep going full steam ahead. Whatever you decide is up to you, is your comfort level. Now, some of the projects I'm going to show you in this video, they do have a zipper or elastic, but don't worry, they are very, very doable. Let me tell you guys, if I could get them done, you can get them done too. And not just that, there are so many tutorials and things on YouTube available to you to teach you and show you how to properly attach these notions and use these notions to finish your project. So let's talk about these projects. All right, so I've got my notes here to keep me on track. The first project that I would recommend is a simple head wrap. So a head wrap only requires straight lines. I did this as one of my very first projects when I began sewing. I made it as a part of a local sewing class I went to in my community, and I still wear my head wrap to this very day. It held up very, very nicely. I will tell you that it did require quite a bit of fabric because a head wrap, you have to be able to, well, some of them, you have to be able to put your knot in the front or in the back, and you want to have enough room, enough yardage, and enough fabric to make that look. But they are very easy to make. They're very straightforward. I don't have a picture of my very first head wrap, but I do have a picture of me wearing one that is an exact replica of what I made in my class. Only difference is I changed the fabric, I followed the very simple instructions I was given, and I was able to come home and do another one, very simple. And I also made a bonus item, as you can see here, to go with the look, to make the look come together nicely. All right, so on to the second project. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, I mentioned earlier, don't be afraid of the notions, okay? The simple ones, don't be afraid of, because they are very doable. This one here is a zippered pouch, okay? It does require a zipper, hence the name of the item, but it can definitely be done. This was also something I did very early in my sewing. A couple years ago, I made a collection of zippered pouches for Mother's Day gifts for my sister, my mom, my aunt, and my grandmom. And I did a few more of those over time. And I checked in to see how those are doing with some of the other people I made them for, and they are holding up very nicely. No, they were not perfect because I was very, very new at sewing, so they have some imperfections along the way, but it did give me some basic experience that I was able to get firsthand on how to use a zipper or how to insert a zipper, and I just used a very basic universal zipper, but it was really good because I was able to, again, get an understanding of how to insert a very, very commonly used notion in sewing, and that would be that of a zipper. All right, on to the third item. So again, very simple, very easy. A baby burping cloth or a blanket. Again, very easy to construct. They only require straight lines, and I did quite a few of these early in my sewing. I made a collection of these for two of my friends. They were having babies, and I went ahead and did a couple of burping cloths for them. And honestly, if you can do a burping cloth, you can do washcloths, you can do a dishcloth, you can do a bath or a beach towel, even a placemat, because the concept is pretty much the same, straight lines. All right, next up is the scrunchie or hair tie. Again, straight lines, but this does require you to use an elastic, or else it's not a scrunchie or a hair tie. So this will allow you to become very comfortable with creating a casing and being able to insert your elastic through the casing. Now you do have to use maybe a bodkin or a safety pin or a loop turner to pull that elastic through that casing, but don't worry about all of the tools I just mentioned, because if you have a safety pin at home, you can make this happen. Don't worry about the bodkin, don't worry about the loop turner, get yourself a safety pin and make it happen. So you might be thinking to yourself, now Keisha, I don't want to do all of the small stuff. I want to go ahead and just jump right into garments. Like, I want to just go with the clothes. I don't want to do a burping cloth. I don't want to do a placemat. I don't want to do a scrunchie. I don't want to do that stuff. I want to go ahead and just start making garments. Well, guess what? There are so many patterns out there for beginners that, I mean, there are just so many. And I want to also make you aware that McCall's, they do have a Sew to Learn line of patterns, and they go from levels 1 to 3, and I did a video sometime last year where I showcased a very few of those patterns that go from levels 1 to 2. If you are a new beginner, you are able to pick some of these up, go right ahead and go ahead and get your sewing started. I will link that video down below so that you're able to watch it and find some patterns that are of interest to you, or just do a simple search online looking for McCall's Learn to Sew patterns and see what's out there. But those are patterns that are going to help you be able to learn how to do the casings, learn about hemlines, and maybe a zipper, or again, a casing around the neck. Just very simple projects that you can do to help kickstart your sewing journey. So that's it for my video. I hope that this was very helpful to those of you who are new to sewing or interested in learning how to sew. Take it from me, I took it very, very slow and steady. I did one of all these projects actually, and I can say that it did help build some confidence in me and wanting to do more things in sewing. So I do hope this was helpful. Check out some of these YouTube videos out there. There are lots and lots of them out there. Check out the McCall patterns, because there are lots of those out there as well. And go ahead and start sewing. You got this. Until we come together again, God bless.